And you are live.
All right, everybody, this is House Education, March 14th. We are walking through, again, the miscellaneous education bill. We're gonna go section by section, talk about the changes that have occurred over the past few days. And you'll see that some sections are no longer there. We'll go over that as well. So if you'd all open it up, we'll turn it over to Legislative Council to walk us through it.
Beth St. James, Office of Legislative Counsel. Annie, can you let me into Zoom,
Yes.
please?
I'll just say, while you're getting that all set up. So there was some language about, in the adult ed program, about dual enrollment, which seemed like it was fine. It actually, it is a little more confusing than that. In fact, there are 20 or so students who are in the adult diploma program who are also in dual enrollment, so it's a part of it. I don't feel that we had a sufficient explanation for that language from AOE. And so I pulled all of it from the bill, and if they want to move forward with it, they can do it on the same side. And then we'll come back to us. So that's no longer in there. I also asked Beth, sort of given the testimony we just received, some of the reactions on the committee, about extending the sunset on the program. I had that language pulled as well. My mind has been very much elsewhere. So the whole concept of somebody just stepping out of retirement to take a well-paid superintendency didn't enter my head. I appreciated Colin pointing that out.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, if a superintendent in particular wants to stick around for another year, we don't want to encourage, essentially, as you call it, double dipping. When it's unnecessary, when the salary is pretty good already. And at a certain point, you got to make a decision whether you are retired or you're not retired. I think all right, so we'll walk through the sections that continue to exist. I got some comments on a few of them.
Okay, I'm just getting logged in.
And so for some of you who are new, so you know, so we'll pass this over to the Senate.
Right.
They then have the ability to add some more miscellaneous things to it. It'll come back to us. So some of the things that aren't there,
They could
doesn't mean they're dead. They can be resurrected over there.
Right.
Yes,
Just a quick question. So like, how fast is the turnaround this time of year? Like, is this like boomerang? Like,
No.
No.
No?
No, in fact, you know, if they decide to do anything with it, we might not get it back until
Oh, okay.
late April.
Because
Oh,
it's
okay.
miscellaneous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
It does offer them a vehicle to add some other things to that have been
If they have
before
other
us,
tidbits.
if they have things they're passionate about. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going to walk through draft 6.1 with today's date on it. I fleshed out the statement of purpose. It's just a list of what all of the sections accomplished. We're going to, for the sake of time, skip over that. Section 1 remains unchanged. They are amendments to acts and resolves 29 from 2023, sections 5 and 6. This has been act related to school safety, pushing out the effective dates for some sections, and removing a requirement about the establishment of guidelines for some sections.
All right, so just to take a moment. So I, at least maybe others have received just recently, like yesterday, a request to extend another date as part of this. Because of our timing, whoever it was the SBA, they're fine with this extension, but they'd like to see another date within this process extended as well. But because we have a timing issue, what I basically said is fix that in the Senate. Or have that debate in the Senate.
So are we good with section 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Section 2 is an amendment to the one of the post-secondary schools sections in Title 16. This is the post-secondary schools that are accredited in Vermont to operate in Vermont. And it is all of the strikeouts are organizations that no longer exist or that no longer operate in Vermont. And then there's an amendment to the name of the Vermont Law and Graduate School.
And just to refresh people's memory, the real reason to do this is because nefarious folks can sort of take the names of these defunct places and say that it's chartered in Vermont.
Right.
And steal their identity in a way.
Nutrition contracts and public bids. Remember, this is section 3 is the section regarding public bids, school districts and public bids. And if you go to the bottom of page 4, the proposal here is to strike out all of the language currently in subdivision 4 there, starting on line 5, and replace it with the language that the provisions of this section, again, related to public bids, shall not apply to contracts for the purchase of food made from a nonprofit school food services account.
And again, we had sort of an explanation as to how this works and why, which whoever's presenting this section on the floor should revisit.
Where's my notes?
Section 4, virtual learning. So, just going to do some high level orienting to you all on where this language is proposed to live. So here is, working? Yes. Here is the flexible pathways statute. There's a lot going on in here that we're not going to go over. But what I wanted to show you was that we've got some language here that says flexible pathways is one of the goals of it is to create opportunities for secondary students to pursue flexible pathways to graduation. That subdivision C here include applied or work-based learning opportunities, including CTE, virtual learning and blended learning, dual enrollment, early college. 5 here was high school completion. That was repealed in the budget last year. You can see that struck right here. And then adult education and secondary credential opportunities. This is all current law, right? You see virtual learning is already, has been since the Flexible Pathways Initiative was created in 2013 in Act 77, an option for individualized learning plan and flexible pathways, et cetera. So if you look at what we just looked at in the context of what is being proposed in your miscellaneous bill, virtual learning is this language is saying that AUE has to maintain access to an oversight of a virtual learning provider for the purpose of offering virtual learning. There's some language in here about who's eligible to enroll. So if you're in a public school, including a tech center, and it's an appropriate learning pathway, that all comports with what's in the flexible pathways requirements. And then there's some language here about average daily membership counts. Students would still be counted in ADM, even if they're enrolled in a virtual learning program. Another important context, I think, to understand this is this chapter or subchapter, this flexible pathways subchapter. This is the language we just walked through. Here's some definitions, and you'll see there's individual sections for all of the individual flexible pathways options, with language kind of codifying what that option is, responsibilities, eligibility, et cetera. What's missing here? And you are proposing to add it.
That was a great explanation. Thank you, Mary.
There we go.
Section 5 is amending the definition that appears here to bring it a little up to date. We go on to section 6. Section 6, BOCES Startup Grant Program. The changes to this section are current law requires the BOCES to actually be formed for BOCES to have access to the startup grant money that you all appropriated last year. This changes it so that supervisory unions that are getting together and discussing whether or not they want to form a BOCES would be eligible for the startup grant so that the money is available on the front end. The original language had language that you could then reimburse yourself after you formed the BOCES, and this would allow supervisory unions to take advantage of the grant program while they're actually doing the work, including what I think you've heard, the bulk of the money and time is related to the creation of the articles of agreement or articles of incorporation. So this would allow them to take advantage of that grant program upfront. And so grants would be awarded to only one SU within each group. They would be the ones who would be in charge of the funding for the grant. And then the appropriation itself remains unchanged.
Representative Brady has a question.
I should know the answer to this, but because I should know BOCES history. SU, should it be SU and SU? Just
SU, if we use the term supervisory union, unless the context clearly otherwise states supervisory district is included.
Then it's, yep.
It's a whiskey bourbon situation.
Yep.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay, section 7, this is Rep. Hango's bill, Flexible Pathways Initiative. This language should look familiar to you all. We just walked through some of it. This section is not touching the dual enrollment, early college, virtual learning pieces. It's touching the post-secondary planning piece of flexible pathways and personalized learning plans. So section 7 is proposing amendments to the flexible pathways statute to require military-related post-secondary career and educational options when discussing individualized learning plans and providing students with resources about post-secondary opportunities.
Just a function of that was in the bill that passed last year.
Right.
Secretary of Education search, section 8 is making amendments. We're outside of Title 16 now, we're in Title 3. So the Secretary of Education search process requiring the state board to begin a robust national search process not later than 30 days after public notification of the resignation of a Secretary of Education, and then language that would allow the state board to request from the Agency of Education some funds for that search process.
You said 30, but I assume you meant 60.
Oh, sorry, 60.
That's what I thought.
It can be whatever you want it to be. This is 60, yes.
Effective
I have a question,
Yes.
and maybe it's not for Beth, but if and when we get a new governor, that governor can request a new secretary?
I don't know, but I assume so. Yes, that is a member of the cabinet.
But, and wouldn't we want a search to start before the previous secretary actually leaves? So that we don't have space?
It's not really up to us.
Right.
Whether what we want is what the governor wants. But yes, you're right.
I just wonder if there should be an or, like the secretary doesn't have to resign. Oh, I don't know how to word it, but like this, to cover this gap.
Or should the position become vacant?
Yes, I don't think that there's an easy solution for that sort of turnover, and then a governor gets to appoint a new person, and we don't know whether the governor's gonna appoint the same person or keep them until. That's something where the governor could say, I'm going to ask the State Board of Education to begin a search.
While the
Okay.
person is currently continuing to serve.
Who knows if they want to continue to serve, but
Under that,
that's not something we can control.
They can find an entrance.
Representative Harbaugh, do you have a question?
I was just gonna, I think you answered it. I was gonna say, I mean, could it be solved with a simple sentence like, or 60 days prior to the inauguration of a new governor, should he choose not to keep on?
I think that's getting a little.
Yeah,
Because you have no
too.
idea.
Right.
You wouldn't know.
Representative Brady?
Isn't it solved by not later than 60
Yes,
days?
it is.
Like they could start it.
Mhm.
And you're just saying you
Immediately.
can't wait more than that.
Can't wait more than 60.
You could do it as soon as you want. We're just saying you can't wait.
Don't want to delay it.
I guess that's my,
Mhm.
because I would have the same concern, but to me, that is a very layman's read of what this is actually gonna do.
The intent of this is to avoid the delay.
Yes, I think that in our last go around with this, a lot of time passed
Before
before.
the search started.
And I think it was unclear, as I recollect, the state board was sort of waiting for the governor to say, please begin your search. They may have had the power to start the search anyway, so this really clarifies
They do.
all of that.
Okay. That's it.
Any further questions?
can I just point out the effective dates?
Oh, please,
yeah.
yeah.
We have the act as a whole taking effect on passage, except that section 7, the military-related post-secondary opportunities takes effect on July 1. And the only reason for that is that was what was in the bill as
Yes, sir.
introduced. So there's nothing wrong with any of this. I just wanted to point out that if you wanted to make a change, now's the time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The reason I would say to just change everything to effective on passage is so that somebody doesn't ask, why is this separate?
Well-
Why isn't it effective on passage?
I have an idea.
Yes,
Kids are still in school and working on their personal learning plans. And if it passes on, is effective on passage, does that mean between now and July 1st, the military options would then have to be presented to them? And that would perhaps be a burden on the guidance counselors in school. So if you wait till July 1st to put that piece in the personal learning plan, it's not as cumbersome.
We're starting fresh.
I don't see any way this bill actually passes while kids are still. in
I don't
school.
either, but I'm just saying, if by some chance it passes on May 1st or the end of April, kids are still in school then.
That's a fair point.
So
okay,
I'd say
I'm convinced.
either make everything
That-
July
I
1st or
can,
leave it as it is.
if I was presenting this, I could say that and make that argument.
Yeah, that I,
Yeah.
I don't have to change horses in midstream when the kids are trying to wrap up the end of the year personal learning plan to present.
All right, this is the time for any further questions or concerns. Otherwise, we will go to a roll call.
Does this last part, section 9, that we discussed this morning?
Oh, yes. Section 9 is the effective dates.
Oh, I think you're in the wrong draft.
Oh,
Yeah, you're looking at this morning's, and you
Oh,
need
take it out.
6.1.
Yeah, I had to refresh. Refresh.
good, good. I wasn't ready to talk. If that's not in there, then good.
Not in there.
Our first
Uh,
vote.
All right, everybody feeling good about having our first roll call vote?
Sure.
Scary.
Who's first?
Is it
Oh, so
alphabetical?
update for people who are returning to the committee. We are now voting alphabetically, which is, I think it's
So
a
we
different
nag.
way than we used to go around the table. But so be prepared to hear your name called.
International vote.
Except I
I mean,
guess, I still get
does
to
that mean
vote.
I'm first?
Because what I do is I watch how Ken votes.
I
and
can
then
handle
do
it
the
here. If
opposite.
I was Angela Arsenal,
Is
it-
I would change my last name if I was ever.
Switch
the
book
first.
ends, right.
There you go.
Yeah. So with Peter going last, so Peter's the only one out of alphabetical
Okay.
order. So, is
All right, here we go.
there a motion?
Make a motion.
Is there a motion to, do we have to do that, or do we just go ahead and have a vote?
No, I
No,
think
we have to make a
you
motion.
have to make a motion.
You
Haven't
guys
been in
know.
committee in a long time.
All right, can somebody please
What are you
move that
voting
we,
Vote on bill.
vote on the miscellaneous education bill?
I will make a motion that we vote on the miscellaneous.
I'll second that.
Education. Do I have to give you the
Yeah.
title of it, the number? Draft 6.1, okay, so it's draft bill 25-0959, draft 6.1.
Excellent.
Thank you. Second by Representative McCann.
All right, great.
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't not say this. What does a yay mean? You're just voting on what? Passage? Okay, okay.
Pass it out of
Okay,
committee.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So these are yes or
Good
no
to have a
votes,
lawyer in the
not
house.
yea or nay.
We don't have the authority then.
Yes, this is a yes or no vote. All right. You all set?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Rep Brady,
Yes.
Rep Brown, yes. Rep Dobrovich,
Yes.
Rep Harful,
Yes.
Rep Hunter,
Kidding, yes.
Rep Long,
Yes?
Rep McCann.
Yes,
Rep Quimby,
Yes.
Rep Taylor,
Yes.
Rep Tooft,
Yes.
Rep Conlon.
Yes.
Excellent.
May this tradition continue.
11-0-0.
That was a transformation. Wow. we did so good.
Switch it up.
All right, well, that was good practice. We'll practice again this afternoon. If you've got questions or concerns about that bill, please bring them. We'll have Ledge Council here for that as well.
Okay.
We'll close here,